Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we're just doing part 2 on this, right? We kind of carved this up with that stock, we carved it up with the stock bar on the MS-172. Sort of doing like a beginner video, just trying to get into the swing of tutorials. It's been a minute, man, it's been a minute. So stock bar and chain on that saw. Normally do something smaller. We do smaller bars and chains and things like that. Just trying to, gives people confidence to try stuff that they want to try and to just practice and things like that. So this is the video to talk about next tools and what I think you should probably put in your lineup next, right? So a die grinder. I think a die grinder is definitely the next purchase. These are just Harbor Freights. If you want to spend a ton of money on it, go for it. I just buy Harbor Freight ones. I buy the 2-year warranty. Take them back when they break, and if they don't break, well, this one I've had since 2020. And then I buy 1/4-inch shaft, 1/2-inch green coarse burrs from Sabertooth Tools. I'll try to have stuff linked in the profile or in the description, guys. You buy through those links to help support the channel. I do appreciate it. Probably can't have a link to that guy. You might have to go to sabertoothtools.com, but those are the burrs I use. Now, this flame burr, we can totally create a sellable piece with that stock saw in just this flame burr, and so that's what we're gonna do. Having a torch on hand and a brush is also key. In the last video I discussed how you could fix this down to another log or a stump if you don't have a jaw horse, so you can go back, watch part 2 or part 1 for that if need be. So right now we're going to take it another step. Right now we're going to round things off. We're going to kind of detail the face. We're going to create some eyes, smooth out our ears and things like that. So this is just kind of like helping out a beginner and getting in some practice as far as like head and shape and things like that. Still very basic shape. We're not like realism, kind of going cutesy. Cutesy stuff sells pretty well. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Be sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell, hit all, and don't go anywhere, guys. Appreciate it. All right, guys, so here we are getting ready with our flame burr. The first thing we're going to want to do is start rounding over the hard edges on our ears. If you've got hard corners, straight lines, start using that flame burr and just start rounding them over. I know on the left some of the camera angles aren't the best. On the right, you guys are kind of getting the idea, hopefully. I will speed this up through different portions of the carve, though. I think it's kind of self-explanatory when I say that. After you've run the chainsaw, you will notice your ears are pretty square, pretty blocky. Let's round them over. Let's get them, more realistic. We won't have perfectly realistic ears, but we're, kind of taking that very beginner, super blocky bear and just kind of adding enough detail to step it up, right? To start working into a different type of carving. Remember, bears aren't just this square block, they're rounded. So you think rounded shapes, right? So just kind of hitting that edge and hitting the inside of the ear, clean those things out, and round those edges over. Real quick, big shout out to my members, those of you that have joined the channel. My videos have helped you out and you have felt you've wanted to give back, and I really do appreciate you guys. We usually hover around 20 to 22 members, anywhere from buying me a coffee every month to the new tutorial tier. You guys rock. You guys really do directly support the channel, the videos, the motivation to keep making videos. And I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate the feedback from everybody as well, whether you're a member or not, about how these videos have helped you, how you've, started carving or you've stepped your game up. I always love hearing those comments along from where you guys are located. When we're live, I always ask where you're from and what's the temperature, because I truly want to know. It is awesome to see people from all over the world watching and enjoying the content here on this channel. So now with this burr, we're going into that neckline, right? Kind of getting in there, rounding off any of the hard edges we've made, drawing the fur out because our chainsaw doesn't fit in here. So we're kind of connecting the lines up underneath. This little bit of detail is something to keep in mind, like later on when you're doing full carves and you do bigger bears. Don't just go to the point where the saw can touch and then that's it, right? Use your tools if you've got them and try to get in there and add these extra lines, these extra details, connecting your fur, drawing it out. And that's really going to step your piece up. Once that's complete, we'll move up to the nose. You kind of see the angle of the burr. We're just kind of shaping and smoothing it out. The end of this nose got a little narrow on me, but you know what? It happens. We're keeping this, part one, part two tutorial video like as real as can be. We wanted a sitting bear. We ended up with a bear bust, but that's okay. We just keep going. We finish it, and then we'll move on to the next project. So we're kind of rounding, shaping, right? It's not a bad idea either, guys, to have pictures of bears up. Whatever the animal you're is, we're obviously working on a bear, so have some pictures available. If you have an iPad, you have your cell phone, even if you got a printer in the house or a laptop. Obviously, electronics out in the cold and sawdust isn't always the best. So if you print some pictures, you hang them up in your carving space just for a visual reference, right? Because, yeah, I heard this from a carver years ago when I first started. And he had said, when starting out and even later on, if you don't have reference pictures, the idea of your subject is there, but it's fuzzy. And so you miss little details, different shapes and angles and sizing and things like that. Until you've done quite a few and you've really just nailed down the style that you want, you will miss the detailed things without having photos up. So when I'm doing a new carving or I'm really wanting to focus on something specific on a carving, I'll have very realistic pictures up. I will have pictures of drawings up. I will have pictures of other artists' work of whatever that form is, whether it's a bear or an eagle or something like that, for reference. All those things help, and they should all be utilized when you're beginning and you're trying to start out and step your game up and learn how to carve. Now I realize I might not give exact direction through the whole video, but that's why we try to do 2 camera angles, especially the one on the right. I know the one on the left, wow, that's great. A hoodie, that helped out a lot, didn't it? But as you guys can see on the right, we're trying to give you that view, cleaning up around the mouth, rounding those edges. Your first one, your second one, even your 10th bear, if you're not getting the results that you want, take a moment and just look your work over and how do you start and how do you get to the point where you're at right now with that carving? What is it about the carving that you don't like, that you want to improve on? What is it about the carving that you need to do differently in order to achieve the goal, the look that you really want to achieve? Sometimes you have to just slow yourself down and really think about it. Man, I keep overcutting this spot, or I keep making this too narrow or too large, or whatever it may be. So you've really got to just think about that. Now, when we're all done, right, we've done our detail work, some of it, we're going to take a brush and just kind of brush stuff off so you get rid of that sawdust. Grab yourself a pencil or a Sharpie and sort of draw in the lines. Guys, you're not making an exact replica of what I'm doing. I realize you might be hoping to, and some of you may, but if you don't, that is okay. You're using this as reference, right, to give you an idea of how to start and where to go with it. Now, I realize for those of you that have been watching my channel for a long time, you guys know I don't always draw on the piece. A lot of times I just wing it. But check this out, right? Look how much more even those eyes look, right? We're drawing in the eyeball, and we're kind of really taking the moment here to think about this instead of going willy-nilly and just winging it, right? Winging it can get you in trouble sometimes without a lot of practice. Heck, I still mess it up. It is what it is, But you draw those in. You draw the eyebrow line in, the eyeball line in, kind of think about that shape. And this also gives you the ability, like when you're doing the eyebrows, to draw the lines back to make it look mean or surprised or cutesy. Wherever you put that black line and however that angle of the eyebrow is can really affect the attitude and the style of that bear, in the mood, really, right? Like giving your carving a mood, I guess we should say, can really depend on how the eyes are set and how the eyebrows are set. So let's keep that in mind as you're working on it. Now, I don't know how to explain this, guys. You're using that burr, the nose of that burr, good grip, and you're just sort of carefully going in and working away material and drawing your outlines with the die grinder. It's practice, it's time. Like if you can get in here though and make eyeballs with this, there's cross cutter burr, there's eye cutter burrs. You can buy those, sure. But if you're just starting out and you don't want to make all that investment, this flame burr is totally the way to go. You can do so much with it. So here should be a bit deeper, right? I like that upper eyebrow part to overhang the eyeball a touch so the eyeball is sunk in. So when you're carving this, it's okay to get in there and remove a little more material. But start shallow and just keep working it back and working it back until you're like, yeah, I kind of like the depth. And then you'll start shaping and rounding the eyeball portion, kind of like this, right? We're using that, and you have to manipulate the tool, change it to different angles to get things to look rounded and not so flat. It's easy to do a flat eye and then, paint your circle in there. It's another thing, though, to take some practice. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, kind of zoom in there, that's rounded. All right? This isn't a, ooh, look at me moment. This is I challenge you to try and carve more of a bubble, a dome, a rounded eyeball that is sunk into the head a little bit. All right? Hopefully that makes sense. Like, I know this is like a beginner carving video, but if you guys start working on these simple little things now when you're just starting out, I'll tell you what, your work is going to be amazing within a few years. You're going to start paying attention to different details, and you're going to be able to push your work above and beyond. There's carvers that have learned from my videos in the very beginning, and their work is outstanding, and they have surpassed what I'm able to teach them, what I'm able to share. Why? Because they're able to see things differently. They have different techniques they've developed. They're able to just, step their game up with more and more practice. And you can achieve that too. You truly can. I am not the best carver. I just love to share my work. I love to help you guys out. And I truly enjoy making videos here for YouTube and other platforms. All right, guys, use that flame burr after you're done with your eyes, right? Cut in, touch up those lines to the snout, around the eyes. Add some fine furring lines, those sorts of things. You really can't, at this point, if you've gotten this far, you've already furred this from the first video, you're just adding more and more detail to really step this piece up. So just keep working on it. Once you're done, go ahead, brush it off, right? If you don't have compressed air, brush everything off that you can, because we're going to move into using the torch next. Now, as far as torching goes, simple. Just burn it. Burn it. I try to keep the snout a bit lighter and burn the heck out of everything else. If there's a high moisture content, it's a fresh log, fresh cut, less than a year old even usually, it's going to be tough to burn. You may have to burn it, let it sit, a lot of moisture will evaporate, burn it again to get the color that you want. Now, I usually do one good burn like I'm doing here, go through, sand it, and then I paint it black. If I didn't mention, guys, I'll have tools down in the Amazon links. Not sure if I can find them all for the shopping bag, but Amazon links down below. You guys shop there, I get a little kickback. We got a full Amazon store. Anything you guys buy through those links, pair of socks, the torches, tools, that stuff, I get a little bit of kickback on it. Pays the bills. I appreciate your support. Same thing with channel merch. You guys buy shirts, hoodies, t-shirts, or even my carvings that are available through the Shopify store. I really do appreciate it. Now, keep in mind, back to the bear. We're looking at this guy. Super uneven burn, right? There's a lot of moisture content in this chunk of log. So we'll have to probably burn it twice to have just like a burnt colored bear. Now, like I was saying, I'll burn it once to get all the fur off, the fuzzies from carving, try to round some edges a little bit. Burning will do that for you. And then we come through and we hit it with this flap sander. This is called the Sandoflex. The extension is something that I've created. I got only one available in my Etsy store, but well, I don't know. We'll see how they go. Again, Sandoflex will be linked down below, the drill, all that kind of stuff. But you go through with this, and this sands the nooks and crannies. This gets your piece done. This is one of the handiest tools for sanding carvings and just, prepping them for paint or for finish. There's another one, too, you can look up. It's called the Wood Whacker. A guy in the UK makes them. Sometimes you can find them on different sites, though. Another great tool made by a carver as well, so that's always really cool. So I burn it, I sand it. Here's our second burn to darken it up even more. Now, normally I wouldn't do this second burn. Normally I would just start painting it black, but for the sake of a beginner video, I realize not everybody wants to mess with paint. Some of you just want to do, a brown burnt bear look. Here you go. Now, I am using what's called the turbo torch. This is hooked up to a 20-pound propane tank. This torch itself is a real investment, okay? This is about the same cost as a small chainsaw. You can get away with the smaller 1-pound tanks, propane torches, like the Burns-O-Matics and things. You can. It just takes longer. And you got to let that piece dry out a little bit more, but it's a very, very doable process. So Just a little note for you. After that burn, you'll be able to go back through with your Sandiflex again and kind of start sanding it down. Now, if you don't buy a Sandiflex, right, and you don't have a drill and you don't want to make this investment, you can do this with a bristle brush, like a somewhat stiff bristle brush like I had earlier, brushing it down. Use that to brush the char off. Now, you could leave the char and just clear coat over it, but you're going to have to spray it. The problem is sometimes it flakes, so it'll make the clear flake, so you're better off, honestly, just brushing it off. Now, I'm not leaving the base on this. I want this separate, so while it's in the vise, we're just going to take the saw and chop it off. Die grinder. Right, now you can go in, add some paint to the eyes if you'd like. For me, the bear is going to get painted black. Black bears tend to sell better for me where I'm at. People always want black bears. But you could paint your eyes however you see fit. This piece is going to go sit aside as it is. For me, it's going to dry out some before it gets finished. But you guys can see in the burning, like some of it doesn't want to burn well. Carve it up, hit it once with the torch, clean it off if you can, and let it sit for a few days. Especially if it's nice weather, like in the shade, depending on where you're located. Don't ever stick these straight in the sun. You don't need to bring them in the house. Just let them sit for a few days. Put a couple sticks underneath the base, let them dry out. Then you could always hit them again with the torch or hit them with some paint or finish, whatever it is you want to do. But just something kind of simple. Just a little bear bust carving. We'll see how this video does, guys. We'll see what your feedback is, what we get for likes and things like that. And hopefully we'll do some more tutorials in the near future. If you guys want to see some other stuff, though, we got some more in-depth tutorials with other tools, other saws in the beginner's tutorial playlist and the stepping your game up playlist. So be sure to check those out if you guys want to learn how to chainsaw carve. Appreciate everybody that's been watching. Again, big shout out to my members. Thank you guys for joining, for hitting that join tab and supporting my channel directly. Also, guys, you can find available pieces below in that shopping bag. Finally have my Shopify store linked up. We'll be adding new work once we get some stuff done, but you can check it out. We got some bears, owls, moose, that kind of stuff. Or you guys can always check out the channel merch that's available down there as well. Appreciate everybody that's been watching. Leave me some feedback. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you later.